We all know that real estate has created more millionaires than any other industry on the planet. We also know that it has created a lot of heartache due to mismanagement, overborrowing, and just simple life events that happen to all of us. Welcome to the Cash Flow Pro podcast. My name is Casey Brown, and I am your fearless leader. And although we might be bourbon sipping and at times foul-mouthed Southerners, we will always do our best to be honest, straightforward, and due diligent with all of the information we pass along to you. Welcome to the show. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of Cash Flow Pro, your daily real estate investing podcast and YouTube channel. I'm here today with Wesley Yates of VFR Capital Investments. Now, he just told me that he is from Texas, and as we know, everything is... Did you say you're from Texas? Back up. Time out.
Yeah.
The property's in Texas. That's right. The property we're talking about is in Texas, but in Texas, everything is bigger and better and badder than anywhere else, and he has recently experienced some problems that are just that, bigger and badder and taller than a lot of other folks care to take on. So, Wesley, how are you today, sir?
I am doing fine. How about yourself, sir?
Man, we are wonderful, very blessed to be here, and summertime is upon us here in Kentucky, which means the humidity is up and the rain is down, and we're inside where it's air conditioned. So
there you go.
But Wesley, so tell us a little bit, man. I know we're going to cover a lot of stuff here, and your boots on the ground. I mean, you're in this deal or in these deals, firsthand to see exactly what it takes and exactly what can happen when things go wrong, and then what actions to take post that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So small town from East Texas, went straight in the Marine Corps right out of high school, did 9 wonderful years. Learned a lot there. Yes, I deployed to Iraq, volunteered to deploy to Afghanistan, missed that boat, got stuck on recruiting duty instead. I don't know which one was worse. If another deployment would have been worse than recruiting, but got to do a lot of fun stuff when I was out in Texas recruiting. At least it was back in my home state, so I couldn't complain too much. And then got out to be full-time dad and put myself through college raising my daughter, and did that for process engineering. Not going to lie, never took a job doing that. Met my wife now. She was already in real estate. I started being I was thinking about the life of being a trophy husband.
There you go.
Very appealing. But it wasn't too long going as a +1, just networking. I guess that inner recruiter, you never can turn it off, just networking with people. Yep. And it wasn't long, it was coming up on my 3-year mark, July 19th. I got a phone call to join a syndication group. At the time, I had to ask, did I even need a license for that? They, of course, laughed at me. Yep. But that shows how little I knew at the start. Showed up to my first networking event and just started talking to people on that subject. Had one failed team event after one failed team event, worked my way around of learning all the skills that I needed to learn to do that, and finally said that if I was going to do this, I wanted to make sure it was done ethically and, without cutting any corners. So I started my own team. When that's where reached out to a few veterans, a few first responders. That's where the VFR comes from. Yeah. And we started VFR Capital Investments in November of 2020. And we got to work kind of filling out everyone's where they were going to be best suited for what role. About March of 2021, we started contracting and closing deals. And to date, we've closed on 862 multifamily units, a little over 70 million. And wow. We're kind of, expanding and moving into other industries as, started up a commercial mortgage brokerage as well. Pretty much anytime I had a problem with somebody or some other, hey, I got to use you to do that. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. If you can't do this right and you're doing it unethical, hey, can we do this? Talk to the attorney. Yeah. The attorney says, all you need is this, and this to do that. All right, get on it. Let's do it. Boom. Now we're out there helping other people. Started the mortgage brokerage in January, and we've already got about 300 million in loans under contract.
Awesome,
So
man.
not doing too bad, off to a decent start, really trying to build the team and have representation across the country.
Sure.
Even working on something in Canada. So, kind of already international. So it's been some rocky times, some hard times, some good times, but I've learned in this industry, if you can't take the bad with the good, you just need to get the heck out.
Yeah, the bad with the good is definitely, and I think that could probably be said for just about any business. The the thing about everything you just said, I'm trying to unpack it all in my mind so that I can kind of find a good starting place here. Because, like I said, you were talking before the show about systems type careers and how many of those systems type careers have pivoted into the real estate syndication world. And I'll be honest. So when we start looking at it from, so let's start there. And I can only attest to what I've been through, and you can see where and then we can kind of see exactly where you kind of decided that this was a fit. So let's kind of start with, you got a degree in process engineering, which you said you never even applied for a job or held a job rather that required that degree. And then I'm just trying to, okay, so 800 and something doors in 2 years. And how much of that is GP? How much of that is LP? Were you an LP before you were a GP? Did I miss that?
No, so I was a part of three other teams. Not to talk too much about the past, but the first role I started on was in investor relations. Found some unethical practices being done by that asset manager. Actually went to my investors and said, in good faith, I cannot advise you to invest into this deal. One of those investors is now my partner.
Okay.
So telling the truth can benefit you, and
Sure.
more times than not, it will benefit you in the long run.
Sure.
Second was doing some operations for hospitality as a GP. In 3 months, without any experience in hospitality, I had a Hilton, an IHG, and a Choice under contract with franchise, franchise license, all that stuff already lined out, everything. COVID hit. We all know what happened to the hospitality industry. So
Yeah.
decided those were not good plays at the time. Got invited to be a fund manager. Was a 50-50 co-manager of a $100 million fund. Learned that pretty much over the weekend, just went all in on it. And then kind of felt like it was more of a 50-50 partnership with 100% of the work being stacked on my side. So, other people that I trusted, they kind of advised, hey, man, you're getting used. You need to get out of that agreement. So I said, well, then what am I going to
Now,
do?
what did it look like? So the hospitality you had under contract,
Mhm.
you never did you ever close on any of those?
No,
No.
so the partner I was with lied about filing the permits with the city. I had already had the webinars, already had the entities, already had a 90% loan to cost ready to go. The lender was ready to do the appraisal. They actually out there and looked at the appraiser, had the engineering reports. We had everything. We were basically kind of like, hey man, where's the permits? We need all this other stuff. Where you're supposed to be in charge of the reports and all of that. Where are you at? And finally, it finally came down to the okay. You notice when people start, it's a lot like dating. Okay. When a girl starts dodging your calls, it's already over.
It's
Just go
time to
ahead and
figure
forget it.
it's time to figure
Right.
out how to get your stuff at her apartment
Yeah.
back,
Just
right?
figure out how to get your crap and move on
Yeah.
because it's already over. They just don't want to say it.
Crisis
Um,
mitigation in full effect when
yes.
it hits that point.
But
So all right, so we scrapped the hospitality and then moved towards what was the next step?
did the fund.
The fund, that's right. Now, actually, that's kind of a little bit my talk. Okay, we have a fund of funds. That's been our initial investing vehicle set up to begin with. But I'd like to dig in there just a little bit with you and see. Did you get it? You said you learned it over the weekend. I pretty much did the same thing. It was basically the same principles of everything else, just with a little bit different. Like it was kind of like just a whether you're eating green Jello or yellow Jello, you're still eating Jello, but it's just a different. It's a different
Yeah.
flavor, I guess, was really the way it boiled down for me. So let's dig in there a little bit. Did you get into that at all? And then if you did, how did that work out, and what is it? What
There
were
was a
the
lot of learning on that. That was a lot of learning, growing, developing relationships. Looked at a lot of deals, toured a
debt
lot
or
of deals.
equity?
Uh, uh, just we were going to acquire. We
Oh,
were going to
quark. So
acquire and
equity.
manage. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, but long story short, nothing ever really came of it. Every time there was something to offer on, it was, hey, where are you at with this? Hey, like I said, my partner was pretty much obsolete. And when it was, hey, we're going to raise this week, I need you to set 10 appointments. I'm going to set 10 appointments. By the end of the week, it's, hey, how many appointments did you set? I said 11. How many did you set? 0. Wait, what? I thought we were supposed to
You
be
should.
raising this money right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's pretty much where it would go, 3, 4, 5 days without responses to, hey, what's going on? Where are you at? Hey, what's going on? Where are you at?
Now,
And
was that a 506B or a 506C?
that was a C fund. That was an accredited fund.
Okay.
Um, but
Now, where were the where which of course that's the big question. Now, that's the question on the mind of every listener that just heard you say C, because they want to know where were you finding or setting appointments at. And of course, I think I have a pretty good idea, but why don't you share with us, maybe if you don't mind, a little bit of your strategy and how you got stuff set?
yeah, I still apply the same strategy now, being just doing syndication loops. Um, Facebook, LinkedIn, networking events.
Sure.
We also found databases of funds, of other fund managers that were fund to fund. We found other family offices that invested as well into funds.
Was that
So
kind of maybe through like PitchBook or something like that? So a program like that?
yeah, I know that we were a part of the family office club of Richard C. Wilson. Kind of kept in touch with him over the years since then, and just taking advantage of that. But most of the connections were just kind of one on one, just reaching out to people. Hey, this is what I've got going on. Are you interested? Just not overthinking it. Just, hey,
Just
this is
boom. Hey,
what
here
I
it
got.
is.
Yeah, I got more replies from a one paragraph email than I ever did with all the bells and whistles and
I,
videos and all of that. Just, hey, I see that
yep.
we're in the same group together. There's the commonality between us. I want to see if you would be interested in looking at how we can partner up on this. This is what I got going on. Would you be interested in talking about that?
Yep.
I got a link
Yep.
below to my calendar. Let me know if you want to grab a spot.
Boom.
Send
There
about
you go.
100,
Did
so
everybody gets into these auto messages and stuff like that. I mean, was that ever an element? I know there's an art to that, especially when you start talking about like LinkedIn, the platforms that really kind of allow it, I guess, to a certain degree. Was there any of that type of stuff
oh
involved
hell
where
yeah.
you
We were
were?
spending money out the wazoo on marketing. We hired a marketing company. We hired a guy to do a professional webinar. We spent
Yeah.
over, I want to say all in, it was over $30,000 on marketing, and not a single investor came in from it.
Yep.
The only thing that I've ever found on that is you can't automate success. Let me
No,
just
no,
say it that
no.
way.
But
You've got,
even if you have that automation stuff, that's what a lot of people think. They want to set up the automation, and then they think, well, all these people are just going to show up. They're going to cut me a check. You have to. Automation is good for front end. Period. End of story. That's it. Once the automation takes over, you try to automate the next step, you're going to get screwed up every time.
yep. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And long story short on all of that, it was a nightmare. It was, hey, you brought me on here because of my background. I'm telling you, I can see right here, we're not getting the conversions, we're not getting all that. How much more money do we need to spend before we go, this tool, this stuff is not properly being implemented? Oh, but I'm the leader, but it all came down to my partner had closed on stuff. I hadn't at that point. So every time, who got the final call? The
That's right.
experienced one. Well, who owns more now today?
Yep.
Since we split, I've closed on 3 times as them since that, when everything is
Well,
being done with the right process, with the right team. It's
Yep.
okay to fail. You're gonna it's and as long as you're willing to look back, reflect back on that and go, what could have I done better, and what could have I held other people accountable to do better.
Yep.
That's something that, I mean, you just heard me. I failed, finally said, all right, cool, I got to go on my own. And I've still
Yep.
failed too on my own. I've
Yep.
just been able to be more control of the reins and have the right support and the right team. I mean, I hands down wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the team that I have today.
Yep. And I'll tell you, and then I just had some folks on my podcast. It was a team of two people, a woman and a man, not married, no romantic anything, a woman and a man partnership. And do you know what the commonality, or like, it was really interesting because it came through the discussion. He was like, man, he's like, he was just balls to the wall every day. And he said, I just pour gas on it. I pour gas on it. And she said, well, I pour the water on it. He pours the gas, she pours the water. And it's like, and it, and it worked. And it wasn't, it never was, they don't keep score, I guess. And it was really intriguing because I said, you all are like the unicorn of this whole syndication business, because there a lot of us, and me included, I never leave myself out of the screw ups and the mess ups and the failures, because I've been there just as much as you or as everybody else. But I said that the thread, that the common thread that runs between you, me, the next guy, and the guy before you is we're very A personality, want control. Like you said, I don't mind. I don't like giving up control because I like to know what's going to happen. And that's my take on it. And whether that's right or wrong, whatever. But you're right. Once you get to the top, there's no sense in me coming in and trying to bring somebody else on and us both having 50% of the say, when we all know that that's just not going to work. I'm just not a 50% kind of guy. I'm just not. Sorry, but I'm not. I would rather me be 100% guy and then have a team underneath me that can take care of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's four of us at our company, at our team on VFR, and uh, we've had that put it to a vote. Ooh, and all of that. And I've
Well,
been outvoted a few times, and all right, cool. But to me, at the end of the day, any team development, any team, any leadership that I've ever been associated with, including the Marine Corps, it's at the end of the day, it's mission accomplishment above all else.
well,
That's
and in that third and that fourth person on the team, it adds an element of reasonableness. Hey, listen, Wesley, whatever, let's whatever they call you. Hey, let's just think about that for a minute. We're going to talk about this and we'll come back. Just that third or fourth element in there that gives a little pad for everybody to bump up against, instead of it just being you versus me. You know what I'm saying? Like this, and then now it's this. You've got three, and it's, we'll put this to a vote, and then there's that offsetting factor there too. So I like that. That's really cool. And it's like I told those folks on the podcast the other day, if it works, keep doing it. So so 800 and something doors. Did you all have to bring in a key partner to grow that fast and get going that fast? Obviously you have a balance sheet guy somewhere, I would say.
Yeah. So real quick, those are all GP. I mean, yeah. Do I have partners? Are some of us kind of invested into other deals? Yes. I don't count LP as door count. I mean, I'm saying that's what I am managing. That's what our team is managing. Is that?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So that is us managing that. And yes, we are part of the owners and all of that. And I would say, out of three of those deals, majority of that portfolio, we're a part of the asset management team. We're the sponsors. We're signing on the loan, and we just kind of partnered up with experienced other co-sponsors to kind of, all right, between all of us, we cover the key principal role. There was the very first one that we did, having no credibility, you know, it was,
Sure.
yeah, we had to bring in someone that could check that box.
And
Hey, look,
that's yeah, I think that's where everybody seems to hit a wall is
mhm.
that experience, that element of experience. And as many real estate deals as I guess we've all probably collectively been involved in, every new person that comes into the business, and that's whether you're on the sales side, the broker side, or you're on the mortgage side, whether you're on whatever side you're on, it's always like if you could just get that first deal,
Yeah,
then it's like phew, off to the races,
yeah.
because then you can multiply. All you have to do is basically multiply what you just did times however many and keep going. So it's really interesting. But so what does the future look like for you all? Obviously, we hope bright and sunny and everything. And of course, we can talk a little bit. You can tell us about some other stuff that you maybe currently got going on or whatever. So what's happening with that right now?
So future, we're really, like you just said, there's more and more and more syndicators, general partners that are trying to get into this industry each and every day. And I'm a big, and I'd rather partner than compete.
Yep.
I don't mind competing, but at the same time, I mean, of course, if you've won a deal, you competed more than not. But I like to see what can we do. Someone help us to get to that first step. Let's reach back down and see how many other people we can help. And that's where the commercial mortgage brokerage really benefits. We've led a few clients that were in best and final, and they're like, we're worried because we don't have the experience and the credibility that some of the other buyers do. I've said, hey, check your email. All right, what? I just sent over my SREO, my brochure of our team. Say that we're partnering with you. Now they just went from down here at the bottom to okay, now I'm up here with the big boys. And only thing I'm saying is, yeah, we'll work something out with GP for being a partner as a consultant, advisor, whatever. Yeah, we can asset manage. We can just about do
Yeah.
anything. But the biggest thing we're going to do is make sure your debt is right for your deal.
Yep.
That's the
And
most
that's
important.
win-win for everybody. I mean, it's win-win for y'all. You get to generate some revenue and win-win for them. They get to get their first deal, then possibly come back to you for a mortgage later on. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's everything's cyclical like that, and that's good. So what do you obviously you're wanting to grow in a little bit in every facet there, but what do you think your main bread and butter focus is going to be going forward?
I would say mainly the commercial. It's called Centroid Lending is the name of that company, and
Okay.
really seeing how many people we can help. As the market is getting more saturated with syndicators, I like to say in a room full of bees, be the flower.
That's right.
You know, so that's really what we want to do. If that's an opportunity that we can be a part of other deals, learn from other sponsors, and as well as, hey, look, we've got well over. I mean, we've got a few thousand lenders, from
Mhm.
just about anything commercial, anything commercial.
Yeah.
Um, but where we can actually advise on multifamily and how to do that and look at their actual performa and say, all right, hey, look, I know that other guy's offering you that debt, but I've worked with that lender before. This is where you're going to have complex when you get into this is an extreme value add and you've got all your capex that you're leveraging. This is how long it's going to take, and you've got this. You might want to consider this bridge lender over that bridge lender because they're more flexible and they're more easy to work with when it comes time to making your capex withdrawals. We
Sure.
have that firsthand experience to truly advise people on their business plan, not
Yep.
just I'm going to go get you the best loan with the best interest rates. I'm going to go get you the best loan with the best terms for your business plan.
Yep. Yep.
But yes, we're still picking up assets here and there. As I mentioned before the recording, we're under contract right now on a 112 unit out in Amarillo that, it turned out to be it's a dud, and you
Yep.
find those, and you just got to
Yep.
know when to hold them and when to fold them, and this is definitely a fold them.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and that's unfortunate that, and then like you said, the resources and the time and the effort and everything that got you that far in that deal, that it just kind of being all of a sudden evaporates one day, that's pretty tough to swallow. But there again, get up and go, pick up, get up, stand up, and let's move forward. And if you, I tell my kids that all the time. My kid struck out the other night at baseball. I said, listen, I said, you can either sit there and you're going to cry about that, or you're going to get up and we're going to go out there and play defense, and we're going to figure out how to be better the next time. And finally, he found it in his soul to get up off that bench and come on and get out there and let's go. So it's the same scenario. We learn those lessons in life, I guess, on little bigger scale every time the sun comes around, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, so with the future of the lending industry, do you feel like interest rates are really gonna dampen what we've got going on right now, especially in the commercial space?
Yeah, it's time to be cautious. It's time to be smart with your buying. I don't think it's going to be the people buying now that are going to be as what should I say, to worry as much as the people that bought 18 months ago and they're getting ready to refi and they weren't factoring the right refi.
Yeah,
Those are the people that are going to be suffering.
yeah, they
I
didn't
do
factor
feel
that. Yeah, that's going to be tough. And that the problem there is that interest rates had been so level for so long that they were like, well, heck, 18 months or 2 years, 24 months down the road, we might, let's figure a half point extra. Well, now they're like,
doubled.
can we get this done? Can we do it now? Can I lock
No,
today?
we've come across a lot of clients, and I'll tell you this: if you choose me, I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. That's one thing that you'll get. I will give you the truth. It may
Yep.
not be the truth you want to hear, but it will be accurate. And I've had several. We've lost a client or two that said, "No, no, 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 I'm going to go with Bercadia. No, 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 I'm going to go with Northmark. No, 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 I'm going to go with these bigger name brands." Okay, cool. They're telling me they can get it for 4. They can give me a bridge loan right now for 4, and I'm like, "All right, cool. Come back to me and just let me know how that goes for you." But I think you're going to close closer to 5.
Yep.
And sure as shit, they can't. I think they ended up closing that loan at, it was like 4.95. And so I was like, well, it was 5 basis points off. Come on, you got to give me credit for being close. But
Sure.
they
Sure.
came back and were like,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, like this really hurt our deal a lot. There's been a lot of people that haven't been able to close
Yeah.
because when you're factoring a 5% interest rate in a tertiary market, and now it's at a 7, you're, but yeah,
Well, and you've got, and all of a sudden you have multiple risk factors that are being weighted in there that weren't weighted in there
last
12
year.
months ago,
Yeah,
18 months
6
ago. I
months
mean,
ago. Yeah.
yeah, 6 months ago. And the thing is that that it has to you have to decide where that cutoff is. And that I wrote a blog article just about this just the other day that said, like, you know, all returns are not created equal. And the key word in that entire sentence is created, because let's be honest, an IRR is created. A cash on cash, as much as we can look at what's going on right this very minute or what went on last month, it is for the most part created. It's not based on anything other than, and then they start looking at, well, we can underwrite these rent increases. Well, that's great,
Yeah,
but it's,
you can underwrite anything you want. I can make a spreadsheet, do anything I want. If you know
yeah,
what you're doing with numbers, you know what you're doing with numbers. But I hate people say, "Well, we underwrite a conservative, or we're okay with being aggressive." I'm like, I want it realistic,
yeah, yeah.
and then I can
Underwrite
come
where
up.
it's underwrite with reality in play,
And that's
and just, yeah, I mean, go and then if you're going to start figuring your underwriting on your refi, like you're talking about, go back and look and see what percent did rates, not what rates went to, but what percentage of change were the rates in 2010, or even go back
look at
before
more
that.
of your
What?
10-year average and stay closer to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
But
then
no, I
and
mean, in
it's
this industry, you got to look at, I look at all the data. I mean, that's one thing I'll say. I am, yes, Marine, yes, martial arts, yes, did the whole martial arts instructing, MMA, sponsored fighting, used to block punches with my face, all the good stuff. At the end of the
sure,
day, I'm a nerd though. I love numbers. I love data. I
yeah,
love research. And that's something you can't slack on is looking at what's happening in the market. Syndication, they said over the next 2 years, there'll be an increase by 60% just in the number of syndicators.
Yeah.
We've already seen what the interest rates and what the feds are saying they're going to do by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Looking at that, then I also look at inflation, look at everything else, and look at the people not paying. And I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at a few studies on that, and they say that the number of not paying in full or not paying period is about to go up to an all-time high.
I don't see how it can't. I mean, there's that troublesome segment of the population that's there. It's always going to be there, and they just have had a little bit better of a free ride the last 18 months, 2 years,
Yeah, I
2.5
mean, with
years, whatever
interest
it is.
rates being low, yeah, the profits were initially better, but I mean, there's never been more of a truer statement any other time and for real estate than I mean, it's always going to be true. Today, tomorrow, interest rates up, interest rates down, inflation up, inflation down, depression, recession, doesn't matter.
Yep.
You
Yep.
make your money on the buy.
That's right, and you have to, because if you're planning on making your money on the sell, that's what that was a famous quote that I heard when I very first started in real estate years ago, was you don't make money when you sell. Everybody thinks you make money when you sell. You don't make money when you sell. You make money when you buy. So, hi, this is Casey Brown, host of the Cash Flow Pro podcast and YouTube channel. Have you been thinking about investing in real estate but just don't know where to begin? I'd like to help by inviting you to check out our website at www.3000capital.com. There you will find an array of material that will help you learn all about real estate syndication. And while you're there, be sure to check out our free video series download titled 5 Must-Know Keys to Success in Passive Real Estate Investing. I'd also like to personally thank you for making Cash Flow Pro part of your day. Now, back to the show. All right, Wesley, listen, we're getting close to the end of our episode here, and we've got a couple of questions that we ask everybody that comes on the show. And the first of those questions is, what is the best book that you have recently read or are currently reading?
Yeah, I'm actually currently reading. It's been it was recommended a bunch. The 7 Habits of Effective People or Successful People. My memory is not as good, but
I know. Yep.
But
it gets worse the older you get too, I promise.
Yeah, I know. But no, it's a really good book. I'm picking up a lot of good stuff from it, and it's a lot of good stuff. But before that, I would say You Can't Hurt Me and Extreme Ownership. Those two, like side by side. I mean, I almost read them on top of each other. 2 great Navy SEALs, military background, kind of spoke to me in that. But really,
who wrote the first one? I know I've read the Extreme Ownership. I've read that one, but who wrote the other one?
The other one, that You Can't Hurt Me, is by David Goggins.
That's exactly who I thought that. I just couldn't remember the title of that book right off. I read that in like a day and a half.
I will say this, okay? Most people will say, "Oh, you got to get the book. I like holding the paper and all that audio." I will tell you, this is one instance where the audio version of You Can't Hurt Me is better, hands down, and this is why. Because they've got David Goggins sitting in the studio, and they will pause periodically, and you'll get a backstory. You'll get more information from David. So it's like a podcast / audiobook. Phenomenal.
That's
you get
awesome,
a lot of cool backstories about all of the people that he was with,
and
then
that whole heart issue and all that stuff, and it's just like, man, and then like, I don't know, man, because I run, or I used to run a lot of elliptical. Now my knees got so bad, but like I would dread everyday running, but I would do it. I did it every day. And it was just, and reading that book, I was still a runner when I read that book. So it hadn't been that long ago. And I was just like, man, this dude is just like, he's on a different, completely different level. Like he's not even on a different level. He's like and he's not even on a different planet. He's like in a different galaxy from where I'm at.
No. And if you ever go and follow David Goggins, he's not just selling. That is him.
No, I follow him on
Instagram. That's how he lives. Yeah.
Instagram.
I had to unfollow him. I was like, all right, that's too much motivation for the year. I'm going to have to come back next year and get mine. But no, I mean, yeah, and it's not the military. It just within the military, it's into the individual. I
Oh,
mean,
dude.
I've got that
Yeah,
mindset that you want to stop me, you got to kill me. And
that's
I've
right.
been there. I've been at that point where I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do
Yeah,
this anymore. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, can you?
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best stories like that that I remember, I don't know if you watched the Michael Jordan documentary. It came out during COVID. They released it. I can't even think of the name off the top of my head, but he said that the Utah Jazz coach came
Mhm.
in there and he's like, I'm not even going to go over there and talk to him because whatever I say to him is going to do nothing but piss him off. And then he's going to come and he's going to beat us. Well, him not talking to him pissed Jordan off just as much. And so he was like, I'm going to feel, I got it now. That was Carl, the Utah's coach then. I can't think of his name, but
Yeah.
uh anyway, it was something that's the
I
same type
like
of deal,
I
man.
like
That's a
Marcus
whole
Luttrell's story
yeah,
because there's nothing more real than death.
that's right.
I'm sorry, but there is nothing more. I lost the deal. Oh, I lost the money. Oh, I lost my house. Death is the only true end. And you
That's it.
remember that. And that was the mindset they have. You want to stop me, you got to kill me.
That's
And
right.
he talked about it for I think it was over 6 miles.
Yeah.
He said, I knew, he goes, my legs were broken, both femurs, been shot multiple times, had a broken collarbone. They got a few other broken bones. Just watched every one of his brothers on his team get killed right
Yep.
there in front of me. He was the last one. Name of the movie, Lone Survivor. If you go watch that, that's Marcus Luttrell. We
Okay.
said, he goes, I drew a line in the sand as far as I could reach. And he told himself, I'm going to
Get over that
crawl
line.
until my feet touch that line. If I'm still alive, I'm going to draw another line. And
Yep.
sometimes you can't look at the end. You can't look at the end goal of, oh, the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't look that far ahead because it's
Yep.
too much to take on. Sometimes you got to look right down at what you're working on, draw a line, and say, if I still can, by the time I get here, I'm going to go the next. And sometimes,
Best way to eat elephants one bite at a time, my
there you
man.
go. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and that's
Uh,
kind of how I've done it. It's okay to fail as long as you don't stop.
as
Learn,
long as you
move
don't
forward.
quit.
Learn,
That's
move
right.
forward.
All right. What is a dream vacation that you have either taken or hope to take?
I've been on a lot of fun vacations with my family, and it's been great to actually have that. Growing up, I never got to do that. My
Sure.
family grew up poor, broke, and we didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
But getting to go to some of the vacations I've been and see my kids see that, places that
Yep.
I never got to see, that's been great. But I really would like to go to another country that's
Yeah.
non-combative.
Somewhere
So
you can actually go and smell the
yeah,
flowers, and I
yeah.
understand, man. I
So
guarantee you.
I think we
I
would like
don't understand, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it would be fun. My wife actually, she's born here in America, but her family was missionaries, and they did a lot of work down in South America, or sorry, not
Sure.
South Mexico, sorry.
Yep.
And so she talks about that, like, because that's where she grew up.
Yep.
For a good 7-8 years of her life, that's where she grew up. So I thought, hey, that would be fun to go visit. When I was active duty, we were banned from going to Mexico because of all the cartel and all that.
Sure.
But now it's like, yeah, I'd like to go there. I'd like to go. So that would be, I would probably say a dual one. I want the ultimate family, all the kids. I got 4 kids, twin boys at 8, a daughter at 10, and a daughter at 12.
Yep.
And to be able to everyone kind of have that, ultimate deal. I will say for that family vacation, my favorite, we went to the Marine Corps Museum.
Oh wow.
First time I ever got to go was on our way to DC. We were going to stop. You want to talk about fun? If you're going to make it, drive from Texas to DC with 4 kids, your wife, and your mother-in-law.
Oh man,
Yeah,
you're a glutton
we
for
made it.
punishment, dude.
Yeah, we made it. But it was a
Good.
great time. I was like, hey, we're driving right by the Marine Corps Museum. I'll walk through it quick. I can't, as a Marine, I can't drive right by it and not stop.
That's
And
right.
so they're like, okay. My wife was like, please, just make it quick. Don't stop, linger, just go. So I'm oh cool. Oh cool. Oh cool. And then I look back and there are all the families like on the other end, like back. I'm like, what? And my wife is mad. She's like, what are you doing? And you know that
Doing
look. You
mom.
don't even have to hear it.
Yeah.
You know that look. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
I know
But
exactly.
they
I
made
know
it
that look
perfect,
very
so
well.
kid friendly. They even had a room where you could try on every generation of uniform. We ended up spending like 3 hours there. By the time we got to DC, everything was closed.
That's awesome.
But that was probably one of the best family vacations, and I would like
But
to kind of take that honeymoon. Uh,
yep.
honeymoon vacation with the wife somewhere down to South Mexico. That'd be something that would be fun.
Yeah. I've never been to South Mexico, but they say they say it's completely different. I don't think that you have quite as much hostility down there, do you? Or maybe I'm wrong
So
about that, but I was
yeah, they
thinking
kind of
that,
call it the neutral zone where the
yeah.
cartels families will live down there usually. So they kind of call that, hey, that's blocked off. Let's keep our craziness up here. But
Let's keep all this, the shooting and everything,
yeah, let's keep
blowing
all the
up and
craziness
everything.
up here. But
Well, cool.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
listen, Wesley, if the listeners heard something today that resonated with them and maybe they want to reach out to you all and talk
Mhm.
about possibly investing or talk about a deal in Texas somewhere, talk about a deal anywhere that you all have a deal, how can they do that? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I've got Facebook, I've got LinkedIn, just Wesley Yates, Wesley D Yates. I'll pop up. If you want to reach out via email, Wesley at VFRCapitalInvestments.com.
Cool deal, man.
And
We'll
if
put
you
a
got
copy of that. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And man, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day today to spend with us. And listeners, if you heard something that you enjoyed today with Wesley, give him a yell, holler at him just loud as you can. Holler at him and get to him on your Facebook, Instagram, email, however it is that he just told you to get in touch with him. And if you don't mind, if you would please go and leave us a 5-star review. We would certainly appreciate it, and that would help us get our message out so that other people can be involved in capital raising and real estate, and we can all prosper and enjoy and live a life of financial freedom. Wesley, thank you for being on today.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Cashflow Pro is hosted by Casey Brown, founder and CEO of 3000 Capital, a commercial real estate investment firm committed to providing its investors with ongoing cash flow and helping them build long-term wealth. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified about all our future episodes. You can find more information about us and our investment philosophy by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thanks for listening.